Okay, this is Lady Myya. Hello, you guys. We are back with another podcast. So, I've got company. Miss Daphne Street. She is an amazing individual, and I know I've said it before, but this one as well. So she has a business called Street Media and Publishing LLC. She was a solopreneur, but she is now an entrepreneur. I mean, yes, I'm trying to be her when I grow up. There's most of us trying to figure out what that thing is, and sometimes we overlook the things that we did do. All we had to do was tweak it and make it work for us. So, without further ado, my Mayan tribe, please welcome Ms. Daphne Street.
Hello! How are you doing?
No, beloved. Yes.
That was a great intro, thank you.
Yes.
Well, I'd like to start out by touching on what you first mentioned is, I was a solopreneur for a long time. I'm just now an entrepreneur, which is a little scarier, and I'll explain what that difference is. But of course, like most people, I started out as an employee. So I worked for a very large nonprofit, and if you're smart and lucky, you will collide with a mentor in your life who will change your life. And I have been blessed to have a couple of them. Not a lot, but a couple that every day I remember to be grateful that they were in my life. That doesn't mean that they are perfect people because they're mentors. It does mean that they had a certain skill set, a certain intellect, and a desire to help me and to show up for me in a unique way that allowed me along a path and to grow along a path with their guidance. But with writing, this individual, and she's known now as Jackie Griffin, took me under her wing and not only taught me a lot, because she absolutely did, but what she really did was give me the opportunities to grow professionally and learn things and apply things in ways that I wanted to do them. So I was hired to be a grant writer, and she absolutely taught me the ins and outs of how to win multi-million-dollar grants. So that's a thing. But beyond that, I was doing media relations. I was doing all kinds of complex communications plans and training people and and everything I wanted to learn how to do. She gave me the platform to do the very best of it, and connected me with all of these people to learn how to network with different CEOs and elected officials, and this was part of my world as I was growing up professionally. So that when I finally said, I think it's time for me to do this on my own, I knew all of this information. I knew all of these people. I had all these connections. And I owe all of that to this person, this mentor, who was in my life for quite a few years. And to this day, every single day, I'm drawing from that skill set. It was life-changing, with no apologies whatsoever. It was absolutely life-changing. And so I encourage everyone, I don't care how advanced you think you are in your field, unless you're about ready to retire and now the only thing you care about is being a mentor to others, and please do. If you're trying to grow and trying to learn, there's nothing better than someone who's walked the walk before you, who can hand some reins and skills and make some introductions for you that will change your life. So that's definitely one of them. And look, they're not always the nicest people. That's not their job. Their job is to teach you and to be a resource to you. And if you're really smart, you will also learn to then reach out and teach others and be a resource to them as quickly as possible. Because no matter where you are in your career, you know something that someone else desperately needs to know. You're always an expert because you're always knowing more than someone else who's coming up behind you. So always think about passing that torch back. Everyone is blessed. So that's that part of it. That's how the career started to grow. And I started doing all different kinds of writing. So when you talk about, how I got into the business, I did it the organic way. I started out as a paid employee writing grants. Then I started doing some article writing for pay, some syndicated columns. I've worked for some of the top bloggers for pay on retainer and other payment arrangements. So always getting paid for my work whenever I could, and building that portfolio. And then I started writing for national magazines. I'd have clients that wanted to be in magazines. I'd pitch, I'd give the article, and we'd get printed. It was an amazing experience. And then it went into books. So I was co-authoring and ghostwriting, and then editing. And now here I am doing publishing in the self-publishing world. So I'm very careful about how I present that, because I am not a legacy publisher. I am the one you go to if you want to be self-published, and no matter what you need in that world, I can provide those services for you so that you own 100% of your work. You are responsible for everything. I'm just guiding it through with best practices. Right. And I'm learning every day how better to leverage my platform for my clients. So every time I hear of a new resource, I'm researching it, seeing how to apply it. Maybe it's not a good fit, maybe it's amazing, and putting all of these packages together for people, because so many people in this space are ripping off their clients. They just are. They're charging for things that are free. They're overcharging for things that don't require much work. They're saying they provide services that are automatically included, and then they're not offering the things that really add value to a client. Now, some are exceptional, and I now know in this space who to refer to that I trust, right. Because there are some that are doing this exceptionally well, and I'm very pleased to know they're out there, but there are some not so much. So whether it's a compilation book that a coach wants to put together for, their tribe, which I highly recommend. It's a great money maker for the coach without much work involved. Massive, massive value to the clients that would be co-authors in the work if you're doing it right. And so many people aren't. And then your solo books, the authority books, the ones that create your platform for you. I can do anything from editing and formatting and helping you upload to the marketing and publicity, and other wraparounds, because I have lots of great partners in this space, depending on how robust you want that to be, to full out ghostwriting, where I just interview you, capture your stories, and write them for you. All of that is available. So yeah, that's what we've come into. And there's a special project that you and I are going to be partnering on a little bit, and we'll talk about that too. Left my full-time job, and I'm doing this writing stuff full-time, freelance, and I'm doing pretty well. I partnered up with someone on a big project, and I went all in on it. And if anyone has ever gone all in, like you don't have a safety net, this is the thing. you put everything else aside, you're on borrowed time, you don't even have any money left. It's got to launch. And you know it's going to be successful when it does.
Right.
And my partner just wandered off. That person was needed to launch it. I created the whole thing.
Right.
But without this person using their network to launch the thing, it's not a thing.
Right.
It's just there. But literally, I couldn't pay rent. I mean, I had nothing. And so I met some concert downtown. I walked down the street, a couple miles probably, and I get to the waterfront. I get to these docks, which happens to be where my father committed suicide. He drowned himself off of those docks. And I'm standing there thinking, when do I give up? And symbolically, I am at a place where my father made the ultimate decision in giving up. So I got my phone with me, as we all do, and I'm, Googling, famous people and quotes on when to give up. There weren't any. Not one. Not one successful, famous person had a quote on when to give up. Let that sink in. I got the message. And so I hop on Facebook and I tell the story and I take a photo of where I am and explain where I am and what that means. And this discovery of there is no time to give up. You can pivot, you can change, you can put something on a back burner, you can do all of these other things, but one of them does not include giving up. I didn't give up. I put it on ice for a little bit, and I had to focus on survival, right? Let me get some clients in, let me get some cash flow going, pay my rent, and I did. I was fine. Didn't know I would be, but I figured it out. It's cool. And then one day that person came back and said, hey, remember that thing we were doing? Yes. You think we could use that for this? Yes. And so we finally launched it. Of course, I had to redo it and rebrand it and everything. We finally launched it, and it was a wild success from the first launch. We made good cash. We split it up. And had a blast, and the people that, paid to be in it were crazy happy with the results. We've done it, I think, 3 or 4 times since, all with the same level of success, and then the person wandered off again. But at least I know, first of all, that I was putting my time and energy in the right place, that what I had created was successful. I mean, undeniably. And by the way, it was the magazine. I knew I was doing something unique. I had been studying journalism like a complete nerd. What's going on next? What is the thing that people want from journalism? How can we better serve people through stories? What kinds of stories do people want and need? And how do they want to receive it? And then if you're pitching something through something written and visual and tangible, it's not a video, but a video can be included. How do we do this in a way that people want to be a part of it? What kind of energy do they respond to? And I've done everything. I followed the advice of some, stay very buttoned up and professional and make sure that all your social media is very professional. Everyone hates it because it's not genuine. People go on my personal page and I give them a warning because it's my playground on Facebook. I am snarky. I am a little vulgar, but not for the sake of being vulgar. I'm definitely opinionated and sarcastic, never offensive. I don't get into political battles or anything. I don't post anything that would be polarizing. Right. But it's a little edgy. It's a little poking fun at culture, certainly poking fun of the self-help movement, even though I very much work in it. It deserves to be made fun of, because if we take ourselves too seriously, we have a big problem. Uh, so, so I tell everyone up front, I do these motivational memes of the day, and they're very funny. Like 90% of the time, they're just making fun of something. And then about 10% of the time, no, they're actually insightful and actually motivational. So who knows? But I just don't take it seriously. Now, my professional page, yes, that is nothing but me talking about business and so forth. But if you friend request me, you're gonna get just Daphne, and
Right.
what that means to hang out with Daphne and play with Daphne.
I love that. See, but it's a lot more in tune. Like it's that one.
It's on brand, and I get
Yeah.
so many clients falling in love with me because of that. They just get to know me, and they're like, I want to be around you. I want to work with this person.
You are amazing. Yes. I wasn't sure if I was allowed to. So I was just like, if she wants to.
Oh, yeah. Well, it's a sure thing. I mean,
Yeah.
it's done, so I'm just redoing it, and I'll continue redoing it. So, yes, absolutely, we'll be talking about it.
Yes. Okay. So I believe that. How did you get to the life group? Like I'm so
Oh,
intrigued.
funny. So, of my former partner and I, we have been working on many different extremely lucrative projects together. And one of the things that she does are these in-person seminars. They're, without being too specific, we'll just call them personal development seminars. They're
Right.
amazing, absolutely amazing. And a guy named Ray Perez and his team showed up to one of these because the two of them had decided to partner together on something. My partner was really impressed with Ray and his sixth sense for branding individuals, which is what he's known for. And so he brought his top team members to this seminar for personal development. He participated too. I never did participate. She and I were too close. So I'd be either, I can't talk about that.
Uh-oh.
I'm not going to throw her under the bus. You know,
No.
what are you most upset about right now? Yeah, no.
I'm most upset. That's not
Nope.
good.
Not today.
So it's just like when you put it all together, you just wanted, look, let this speak for me.
Well, what's funnier for me is I am not a background person.
Oh,
No, not. I am a performer. I'm a principal. I'm a soloist, for God's sake. So I am completely comfortable being the center of attention. But I'm also good at supporting the principal. Because my ego is the size of a planet. It is enormous. But it is also a self-sustaining ecosystem. You can't hurt it. It's
I
just
love
kind
it.
of there, no matter where I go. You can hit it. It's going to be fine, you know. So I love supporting others. I love being in the background because next week I'm going to be right up front doing my thing. And this partner was always very good about giving me a stage and letting me present, and because I was good at it. And she and I, even though she was far more financially successful than I'd ever been, we're talking billions here. So I've never seen anything on that level. And I don't need to be completely honest. But she was never a mentor. And it was weird that that was never part of the dynamic that ever showed up. She didn't want to be. I didn't want her to be. We were equals. We were partners. And that was the dynamic from the very beginning all the way to the end. Now, what will happen I don't care if you're a husband and wife team, or if you're best friends, or if you're business partners, what is going to happen when you're working in a cocoon of love and respect is you will accidentally learn from one another. You're not necessarily teaching each other anything.
Right.
But because you love, respect, and honor what that other person is bringing to the table at all times, you're both going to be learning and growing from that experience, whether you want to or not.
Right.
So that's what happened too, is along the way, she developed some of the skills that I was bringing to the table, and I developed some of the skills that she was bringing to the table. Better than we had them to begin with. So that synergy was a real thing. And we'd fight over things, but always with this love and respect. It was never, you're an idiot because, it was, I don't agree with you, here's why. And it would be so much better, or this is going to be a disaster, please don't. Back and forth. And then when we would finally hit the nail on the head, we knew it. We both knew we got it. That's the thing. Now we can move on.
Exactly.
But
do you find you get there quicker when you have somebody else with you?
Well, more than quicker, you are not going to realize that there's a problem when it's just you. You're always going to agree with you.
True.
So if there's that second person going, that's not it. Oh, right.
You're like back to the drawing board.
Yeah, yeah.
I get that.
And because I do a lot of document work, and by default graphic design, I'm not a graphic artist, but I do things well enough that they all look very professional and polished. Right. So with that, I will tell a client, you're not allowed to look at this yet. Right. Because it has to look, even though it's totally not a final draft, has to feel like one. And then I tell you, tear it apart, because it's not a final draft.
That's not it.
But if I give you something that looks like a rough draft, to many of my clients, it makes them feel very uncomfortable, because there's so many elements in it they want to change because they don't like it.
Right.
Let me polish it up for you.
Right.
Give that to you. Now you're just going to focus on the stuff I need you to focus on.
Okay. You know
and
what?
you're not distracted by the crazy that is the ugly draft or the whatever.
You talking to me? Okay. No, I got it. I'm working on it.
And then I give you permission, because I'm a professional. I have no feelings when it comes to work at all. So come to me and say, no, this is way wrong. I need X, Y, Z. Right. And I will totally tell you if I don't agree with you and why. Mm-hmm. It's not defensive, it's strategic, right?
It really is.
I would recommend that you not do X, Y, and Z because it will have this result. I recommend that we do these things in place of it because I've seen it have this result. But I'm not going to get over, I don't like your font choice.
Everybody don't like my font choice. It's okay. I'm like, I don't care what you don't like. What I like.
At the end of the day, the client's the client. It's none of my business. I'm going to say, I don't agree. Here's what I recommend. But if you insist, you're going to get
better. I will be like, yo, I'll take that one.
So do we want to talk about the project?
Yes! I thought you would never get there. Just kidding.
So the super secret project is what I was alluding to a little bit before, where I had a big project that I had worked very, very hard on. And to let you know how this career kind of popped up out of classical music.
Right.
And there are a few like absolutely amazing citizen journalisms that have turned that into a career. Those are our top bloggers, and such as yourself, our top podcasters. Those are the citizen journalists that are going, let's change things, let's get known, let's move the needle here.
Exactly.
And so knowing all of that, here's the project, here's the big reveal. I took all of this information, I looked at all of the failing newspapers, why they're failing. Why are some not failing? Some are doing really well. What is it about them? Same with magazines. So many of them have gone bankrupt. Others haven't. Some are doing really well. What is it about them? How do people like to have an experience through these publications? What is it they're looking to experience? So taking all of that information together, I developed an e-magazine that really encapsulates everything that I have seen that people want from a publication. First of all, it is not meant to be printed, ever, because it will lose its capacity for engagement. One of the coolest things about an e-magazine is a couple of things, but we'll start with the first one. How magazines get published, where they make their money, is through ads. People spend an ungodly amount of money to have an ad in a magazine. But think about this, you're in a doctor's office, you pick up a magazine, you leaf through it, you see a watch that you must have, you look at the suggested, MRP there, you're like, well, I could do that. And then you get called in the doctor's office and you get examined and whatever, you walk away. You never purchased the thing.
Nope.
Now, today, maybe there's a QR code and you could, or maybe you'd Google it and just order it online right there. But there are a few steps involved with this.
Yeah.
What if you have your laptop or your phone or whatever, and you're going through and you see this course or this seminar, this thing you really want to be a part of, and you can just click it and register because it autofills, and watch the video on it so you can get the energy of what it's all about, watch the testimonials, and dive in and buy the thing right away, and then go see the doctor.
Exactly.
Because you're just sitting there and looking at your phone. That's what this magazine does. What it also does is it provides people who buy into an ad. They don't give you an ad. One page is an ad. You have to buy a full spread or this model doesn't quite work. So you also get an article, a professionally written article on whatever it is that you want people to know. Well, guess what's cool about articles is you can share them on social media. No one wants to share an ad. But you can share an article, you can share content, you can share a video. And all of this is in this article, and you get a unique link that goes straight to just your stuff inside the magazine. So the magazine has its own link, and you can flip through all the pages. But I will give anyone who buys into the subscription their own link that drives people straight to that article and that ad so that they can take action right away on whatever it is you want to lead them into. It might be a video, it might be a sales funnel, it might be to register for an event, to watch a webinar. All of these things, wherever you want to direct people, they can go to immediately and take action on it, which is unique in this world of, what we're so used to with advertising and promotions. So, and that's just the tip of the iceberg. There's a whole branding behind this to make it a little edgy in this. It's mostly aimed for entrepreneurs. It's aimed for people who want a bigger and better life, and all of these lifestyle tips in here. We have sections on nonprofits and change agents, and that includes politicians, people that are working to create change in the world. They have a whole section. We have food and healthy recipes. That's a section. We have speakers, people who want to be professional speakers, people who are very established professional speakers, giving tips, offering classes, and everything in here is going to be something that people can take an action on right away. We're going to have tips that if you follow them, you will see the needle change. Seriously. 5 tips, do these 5 things, journal out these 5 things, take these 5 actions, you will experience a change that hopefully will build some momentum for you to go farther. And that's what this magazine is all about. That's the core of it.
Yes, I know. Isn't that amazing, y'all? Y'all know dang well. Y'all like, oh, when I'm gonna get this? Yes, we have to
So,
talk to
so
her.
the launch is planned for uh, mid-September. I'm gonna have a prototype designed mid-August. We're close. We're very, very close. So I'll have the prototype done. I'm gonna network it with certain people. People can purchase into the inaugural edition at a deep discount. Here it is.
I love your stories. I just want to sit. You know how the kids at the campfire, they just sitting there and just popcorn in their face and they can't stop looking. Like, tell me more. What is happening? I love this because like you're so driven and it's like, okay, everything that I ever wanted to do, you did, and I'm mad.
Oh wow!
Like
I've met those people.
I know,
In
right?
fact, and that's why too. When you pick partners, don't be the same. Don't be the same types of people.
Right.
You would ask me how I ended up in your group, and I started telling that story. So it was through Ray Perez. I went to one of Ray's events that I met through my partner at the time. And I'm like, you know what? I need to finally brand me. I had been piggybacking off of this other person. The only way that you were able to work with me in the past was through a warm referral. No other way to find me. I did not publicize. I didn't market. You could not find me unless someone else who knew or worked with me said, you need to talk to Daphne. And I actually made a career that way. But it's inconsistent. So, I can have extremely lucrative months, 5-figure months, and then other months, I made $600.
Oh no.
So now I'm like, I should probably brand myself. So I went to the god of personal branding, who is, without question, Ray Perez. So I'm in Ray's room, and then Lyman is in Ray's room, Lyman Montgomery. And we just had this great conversation and synergy, and Stacy was sitting next to him. And Stacy's running for local office in her community, which lit me up because I love local politicians. Now, when you get into state and federal, I don't love you as much.
Right.
But the locals, you guys are my people because you're really fighting for the things that matter where you live. And that's where change happens. Like you on a whole other tirade on how we change the world. You do it in your backyard. You do it with your neighbors. You do it with your church. You do it with your friends and family. You do it with the people around you first.
Yes.
Then you can create a model that works and pass it along to others and seed this progress wherever you go. So I love local politicians. So Stacy just made me crazy happy that's what she was doing. And then Lyman and I, we met up, and I think similar to this conversation, it just kept going and going and going. We were on the phone for 3 hours. We were scheduled for 15 minutes. And then eventually it was bumping up against another thing I had to take.
Right.
So I had to call his attention to it. Lyman's a busy guy.
Oh gosh. Yes.
Right?
Yes.
3 hours, and neither of us recognized the amount of time it was taking.
It does happen that way, especially when you have really good company. And you have very interesting and very that strategic stuff going on in your mind. You're like, okay, so if I ask this question, I'm going to get this answer. Or will I?
Well, Lyman is my partner on this magazine.
Yeah.
So an actual business partner, 50-50. So with that, I already had it developed so I could show him how it all worked, as you've seen.
Yeah.
So now it's cool. It is absolutely cool. It's like nothing you've seen. I promise you. You've seen e-magazines, you haven't seen this. Not structured this way.
Right.
Then I sat down after our initial conversation and I broke out the business model because I'm very strategic. And that comes from grant writing.
Right.
I had to, what people don't realize about grant writing is at a certain level, when you're dealing with millions of dollars or even hundreds of thousands, you are creating a new business every time you write a grant. I am not here to make $1 billion. That isn't my goal. If it happens, okay.
I mean,
but
yeah.
I'll know what to do with it. I mean, but
she'll figure it out though. She's.
It's a nice problem to have. I won't like the taxes, but you know, small price to pay. So yeah, I'm incredibly excited. We have a lot of work ahead of us, but you know, I'm looking forward to bringing in just a few paid people right now, and by pay, I swear we're just talking hundreds here. We're not talking a lot of money. It is a low cost of entry, just to cover the actual hard costs of the magazine, because I don't like operating at a negative. That's not a good business decision. So yeah, there's a very low cost of entry if someone's interested in being in the inaugural edition. And, you know, I would love to be on other people's podcasts and blogs and things. So if, you know, anyone watching this would be interested in having me on, I would love that. Just to let people know what I have to offer and how we can all work together.
Yes! Woohoo! Okay, so y'all look, I'm gonna be stingy, y'all. So I want her back to myself. And so I'm gonna end this because that's my chick. She's my girl. Okay, so please tell my Myyan tribe how they could reach you, dear.
Absolutely. So the easiest way to find me is my 360 account, which is Daphne, Daphne, 360.com. And all my contact information, social media, everything is right there. Website, so forth. There you go. It's all right there. Daphne, Daphne, 360.com.
Woohoo! Yes. Okay, you guys, she's an amazing individual. I'm hoping that a little of her, just a little pinky finger situation will rub off on your sister, okay? Because, you know, just a little bit.
Hey, we're part of the same family now. You don't have a choice.
I love it. I'm excited. I really am. I've never pictured myself getting as far as I have, and I mean, the people that I've been in contact with, guys don't know. So you guys, my Myyan tribe, if you want to be a part of the show, go to my website. That's LadyMyya, MYYA. You know you want to be on this show. Why y'all playing? Like, you are an entrepreneur. You have your own business. We can talk, because know this, there's a lot of people that's still trying to figure out what they want to do and how. And so when you are giving just your story, they can probably see themselves in your story. And now you've allowed them to do what it is that they do on probably a whole different scale, but it's that trigger that people need, you know, to just keep going. So I appreciate you guys, and thank you so much, Sister Daphne. I appreciate you, honey.
This has been a blast.
Yes. And so we're gonna go. You know, that's Myya, LadyMyya, MYYA, and you know why? Cause your homegirl is special. I will be talking to you guys later.